Have you ever asked yourself, where did my paycheck go? Yes, you are earning more, raises, bonuses, promotions, and yet still, at the end of the month, your account still feels empty. And you wonder, where did my money disappear to? According to a recent research by Total Jobs, 2/3 of the workforce admit they ran out of money before their next payday. And a third say they have never been able to make ends meet without relying on an overdraft, a credit card, or savings. And a fifth, 1 out of 5, say they are unable to go on holiday because of their financial situation. And so, where is the money going? Where is our money disappearing to? Yes, there are factors that are outside our control: inflation, the rising cost of living, and in recent times, tariffs, which impact the cost of imported goods within an economy. But here is the truth: making more money does not necessarily mean increased financial progress or increased wealth. You see, there are factors which may be outside our control, but there are factors that we have control over. And in today's video, we will be exposing 5 robbers of your money cookie jar and how we can stop them from stealing your financial future. Hello, this is Gabriel from the Real Success Life Academy channel, where we equip you for personal leadership and also empower you to achieve financial freedom in your life and also live a life of balance. And if you are receiving any value from the videos we put out, I'll ask you to subscribe, to like, and to share these videos with friends, and also hit the notification bell so we can walk this road of financial freedom together. And by the way, we have a free resource for you. The link is in the description. 8 most important areas of life everyone must plan. Check out the link in the description to get this free download. Okay, so now let's dive into today's video. There are 5 silent robbers who are stealing money from your money cookie jar. And in today's video, we will be exposing the 5 silent robbers of your money cookie jar and how to stop them from taking your hard-earned money from your bank account or your digital wallet. The first robber is what I call lifestyle creep or lifestyle inflation. Lifestyle creep is the tendency to correspondingly increase your spending when your income goes up, thereby preventing you from building wealth and adversely affecting your financial goals. Lifestyle creep is what happens when you begin to make more money. Your salary increases, you receive bonuses, you receive a promotion, there is a raise in your salary, and you notice all of a sudden that your standard of living correspondingly increases with the increased income that is coming into your life. So you get into a situation whereby instead of saving the increase that has come into your life, you end up spending this increase on mostly discretionary expenses in your life. For most people, they will either change their cars, begin to buy more luxury clothes, or go on more luxury vacations. They increase the number of times they eat out, and before you realize, the increase in the paycheck that came to you does not make any impact at all. And you, at the end of the month, you are back, as they say, to square one. Now, here's the truth. It's not how much you earn, but how much you keep and invest. That is what matters. Let's illustrate this by looking at 2 individuals. Mr. A earns $4,000 a month, and his total monthly expenditure is $2,000. So he has $2,000 as surplus, which he invests, which he saves and invests. Mr. B, $7,000 a month, but his monthly expenditure, $6,200. So at the end of the month, Mr. B has only $800 to save and invest. Both of them are saving and investing, but Mr. A has $2,000 of his disposable income going into investments. But Mr. B, though he earns more than Mr. A, he only invests $800 out of his $7,000 monthly paycheck. So between these 2 people, whom do you think over time will grow wealthier? Of course, it's Mr. A, Because irrespective of the amount of money he earns, he is able to control his expenditure. He is able to control his living expenses. And as a result, he is able to put more into his investments and thereby create the life that he actually deserves. So lifestyle creep is something that affects everyone. The salary raise comes and all of a sudden you tell yourself, why don't I change my car? Or you tell yourself, why don't I get this streaming service? Why don't I sign on to Netflix? Why don't I upgrade to a family plan? Or why don't I increase my cloud storage for my iPhone? Before you know it, your expenses gradually begin to increase and eat up any increase that has come into your life. You begin to ask yourself, where did my money go to? Money creep is a silent robber of your money cookie jar. In order to stop the money creep from affecting your life, there are a couple of things that we can do. Number one is to develop a spending plan. Develop a spending plan for your finances. Remember, it is not how much you earn, but how much you keep and invest that matters. So when you develop a spending plan is a plan that tells your money where to go to. So at the end of the month, you are not wondering where your money went. Number two is to prioritize saving and investments. It's important that when you do your spending plan, your savings and investments are at the top, not at the bottom. For most people, they save and invest what is left after spending. But the right order is to save and invest and spend what is left after saving. So you learn to live within your means. The third is to set financial goals in order to avoid falling into the trap of the lifestyle inflation or lifestyle creep. You see, if you have financial goals in your life, for example, you are building an educational fund or you are putting money aside to buy your first home or your first investment property, so when you receive an increase or when you receive a bonus or when you are promoted and it comes with an increase in your salary, it is easier to try to apply that increase to meeting your financial goals and thereby prevents you from falling into the trap of the lifestyle creep. The second robber is subscription creep. Subscription creep is the gradual accumulation of multiple subscription services without realizing how much you are spending on them every month. These subscriptions range from gym memberships, subscribing to streaming platforms like Netflix, Disney Plus, Amazon Prime, Hulu, Spotify, YouTube Premium, and all these seemingly small subscription fees begin to creep in and take out of your disposable income. Everything you can imagine today runs on a subscription model. And most of these subscription models have a free trial upfront. And in subscribing to that free trial, most of them you put in your card details. After the trial period ends, the subscription then sets in by making a debit to your credit or your debit card. You see, most people forget after that trial period. They keep subscribing or signing on to multiple subscriptions. And before you know it, subscriptions are taking as much as 10 to 20% of your disposable income. And at the end of the month, you are wondering, where did my money go to? In order to stop this robber subscription creep from stealing from us, number one is to set aside time regularly to go through your bank account and cancel any unnecessary subscription or any subscription that is no longer relevant to you. One thing I do is to set aside an account and a card particularly for subscriptions. So in your spending plan, you have a budgeted amount for subscriptions every month, and they go into a particular account so you can monitor what is going out of that account. The third thing you can do is to document these subscriptions. Document these subscriptions so you know what you are subscribing to, and regularly you can review this list and take out any of them that are no longer relevant. Lastly, this one thing I do is to set a reminder on your phone each time you sign up to a subscription that has a trial period. So if, for example, it has a 14-day trial period, I will set a reminder on the 10th day. So on that 10th day, I receive a notification and I reconsider this subscription. If it's something I really want to continue, I would like to cancel. And if that's the case, you cancel the subscription before the trial period ends. And thereby, you do not fall into the trap of accumulating multiple subscriptions in your life. The third robber is debt interest. Debt interest. You see, interest is the price you pay for money. You see, when you borrow money from a bank or a financial institution, you would have to pay back the money with interest. The interest you pay is the cost of the money that you took. Now, you see, for many people, when they are in need of money, they do not look at the interest rates. They are only interested in getting the money. It is only when they go through their financial statements, or it's only when they realize that their money is not enough after the bank has taken its installment, then they realize this interest is too much. So it's important that we negotiate or we review the interest rates at which we are borrowing. And this is how many people get stuck in the debt trap. A large chunk of your salary ends up paying interest, and there's just a little left for you to live on. And you are wondering, where did my money go? The money has been stolen by debt interest. Interest on your loans. You see, some of the most expensive loans are credit card loans, consumer loans. For example, purchasing furniture, purchasing a car. These are some of the most expensive loans. We call them consumer loans. So as much as possible, you should minimize or avoid these loans. So how do you stop the debt interest robber from taking your hard-earned money? Number one is, if you have to borrow, make sure you review the interest rate of the loan you are taking. It is one of the most important things you should really look at. The amount of money, the duration of the loan, and the interest rate. These three things are very important for you to review and to negotiate. If the financial institution is not flexible, it's important that you shop around and do not look desperate when you go out looking for money. Number three is to avoid consumer loans. Consumer loans are some of the most expensive loans on the market. The fourth thing is to build an emergency fund. If you have an emergency fund, when you have an emergency, you will fall on that fund instead of having to borrow to solve that financial emergency. And the fifth thing you can do to stop this robber from taking your hard-earned money, if you use a credit card, make sure you pay it off within the interest-free period. Don't use the card unless you have the money to pay it off. Use your credit card for convenience, but not to solve your financial situations. I know the banks will not like this, but your account will thank you, and your financial future will be grateful for this advice. The fourth robber is what I call impulse buying. Impulse buying in these modern times has come in the form of buy now, pay later. Buy now, pay later schemes have become popular of late because they have become very appealing to those on a very tight budget. Buy now, pay later is a type of short-term loan that lets shoppers pay for products in small installments spread over a set period of time. Unlike other type of loans, buy now, pay later schemes are typically interest-free and rarely have service fees attached to them. So they are appealing to many people. For example, you walk into a shop and you see an iPhone which is $1,200 and you want to purchase that iPhone, and they offer you the opportunity to spread this over 6 months without interest. So all of a sudden you do not have the $1,200 cash to buy the iPhone, but you have £200 or $200 to pay for that iPhone, and you can pay it over 6 installments without interest. It's so tempting, it's so appealing. So many people just end up signing on to these schemes. But you see, the lure of this interest-free payment system, no service fee, has a cost to it. And that cost is impulse buying. You see something in the stores and you think to yourself, well, I'm not going to pay upfront. It's just a small amount of money that's required every month. So before you realize, you are in a trap. Before you realize, you have purchased more than you require. Before you realize, at the end of the month, all these repayments put together take out a chunk of your disposable income. Buy now, pay later is a clever way to make you spend more. So be careful, and also bear in mind, all that glitters is not gold. If you miss a payment, or if you are unable to pay because you have accumulated so many of these installments going out of your account every month, it will affect your credit history, and possibly some of these come with very high fees. So in order to stop this robber from stealing your hard-earned income, there are two things you can do. The first is to create a spending plan. Tell your money where to go instead of finding out where your money went to. If you have a spending plan, it is much more difficult to fall into the trap of impulse buying. The second, each time you are making a large purchase or you are tempted to make an impulse buy, delay that buy for 48 hours. If after 48 hours, reconsider purchase. If it's still something you really need, go ahead. You can decide to go ahead with the purchase. But most often, you realize that you never needed to purchase it after all, or you could delay the purchase to another time. So these are some tips you can use to stop the impulse buying robber from taking your hard-earned money. The fifth robber, to me, is the most interesting. It is the deadliest, but the most aggressive of these five robbers: inflation. You see, inflation is the gradual increase in the price of goods and services in an economy within a period of time, usually a year. Every minute, every second, every hour, every day, this robber is stealing your money. Whether you are aware of it or not, it doesn't matter. Inflation is slowly chipping away, taking money from your money cookie jar. Most people have not recognized the fact that this robber exists. They may have heard it, but they have not consciously tried to minimize the impact of inflation in their lives. You see, inflation reduces the purchasing power of your money. Let me illustrate how inflation steals your money. Let's consider a meal that costs $50 today. In an economy where the inflation is 10%, it means that if you have $50 in your pocket, in your wallet, on your card today, you can purchase that meal. If you put that $50 in an account that pays you nothing, zero interest, at the end of the year, you will still have your $50 in your account. However, because inflation never stops, at the end of the year, that meal of $50 will now cost you $55. Now, here is the truth. You will be unable to afford that meal next year if you still had your $50 in your account. So that is how inflation is stealing from many people. Inflation is a silent robber that's taking money from the accounts, from the lives of many people, and depriving them of reaching their financial goals or living a life of financial freedom. Because inflation is reducing your purchasing power. You could have received a raise. You could have gotten bonuses. But if you do not manage your money in a way that you are at pace with inflation or ahead of the inflation rate in the economy in which you live, your raise will mean nothing. Increasingly, the cost of living will climb up, but your standard of living may have to go down. And here's the truth about inflation. Inflation will never go away. Most economists believe that every economy must run on a low and stable inflation. And the central banks every year set a target for inflation in their economies. That robber inflation will always be there. So how do you minimize the impact of inflation? Number one, don't leave your money in an account that earns you nothing or earns you very little. If inflation in an economy is, let's say, 10%, and you put your money in an account, in a savings account that earns you 2%, what it means is that at the end of the year, you would have lost 8% of your money, because at the end of the year, you would have made 2% more, but inflation would have taken 10% off your money. So in managing your money, you must be careful. You must be intentional. And you see, the banks know this. When you go to them to borrow money, they will charge you higher than the inflation rate so that they can take care of their operational costs and also make some profit. So why are you running your life to make a loss? You work hard for your money. You work hard. Why are you making a loss in the business of your life? So take charge of your money. The second way to minimize the impact of inflation is to put your money in a high yield savings account. For example, your emergency funds should be put in a high yield savings account or in a fund that is not earning you negative interest at the end of the year. One of the apps that I use is the Achieve app, and I'll put the link in the description and you can try it out for yourself. The third way is to invest in inflation protected assets. So now you know how to stop these robbers from silently draining your wealth from your money. It's time to protect your money and to build wealth. We must be intentional with the money that we make. So tell me, which of these 5 robbers is stealing from you the most? Drop it in the comments below. And if you have found value in this video, please subscribe to this channel, Real Success Life Academy, and also like the video, share, and hit the notification bell so you will be the first to be notified. Let's build a life of financial freedom together. Thank you for watching this video. I look forward to seeing you on the next one. Subscribe.